like you say, you know, as long as it's on you, it's not falling off and you can't see your pants, then everything else is just detail, isn't it?
Exactly.
Hi, I'm Lauren Bravo and I'm here today with Arianna Cadwallader.
Hello.
Seamstress and author of a new book.
Yes, Sewing Your Perfect Capsule Wardrobe.
And today we're going to be making an A-line skirt.
Yes.
This is where it starts, the fabric shop. So we better go choose some fabric.
Great, let's go.
And so for someone who's beginning to sew, someone who's maybe not very confident yet, is there a fabric that you think is good to start with? Anything that's easy?
Probably just a nice medium weight cotton. I don't think you can beat that because it just does what it's told.
Yeah.
But if we work with a wool or something as well, that's also really lovely. Anything that's a bit stable, go for something you love as well.
Yes. Oh, these are all gorgeous.
They are, aren't they?
I think I've made my decision.
Okay.
I am very drawn to this beautiful, bright mustardy colour.
Gorgeous.
How do I know how much I need of this?
So in the book, it tells you how much to buy. Maybe like a metre would probably be fine.
A metre?
Yeah,
okay.
maybe a metre, metre and a half.
Great. Well, let's get that cut then.
Gorgeous. Nice choice.
So here we are back in the studio.
Yep, welcome.
And we're going to start making the skirt.
Yes, absolutely.
What's the first thing we need to do?
So first things first is inside our book, we've got all the patterns.
Ah, that's so handy.
And we're doing the skirt one. We've got your measurements. We're going to get the size and trace it off. We've got some spot and cross paper here, which is pattern paper. But you can use baking paper or anything.
Greaseproof paper.
Perfect.
In your kitchen.
Absolutely. Done.
So now what?
So now, that ready to cut out.
How did you get into sewing?
I've sewed since I was little, really little. So growing up in Cornwall in the 90s where there wasn't a lot of shops around and there was just one top shop. So it was going to the top shop, buying it where everyone else had. But then I used to buy a dress, copy it, and my mum was an interior designer, so get some other fabric and then make it out, change it up and then sew it together.
So you went down the disco and you had a completely different dress.
Totally different dress, down the disco, down the roller disco.
Yeah. Now, I was the same, I did a lot of sewing when I was younger, but I have since sort of lost the skills, I guess. How do you think we can encourage people to kind of sew in adulthood, get back into it?
Do you know, I think it's one of those things that you can always pick up on, you can always learn to do. It's not like a skill you're born with.
Yeah.
And nowadays, like, there's so many, we've got an amazing high street and amazing vintage stuff, but you can change things. So I think maybe that's where, if we come back into it, it's just thinking you really love, I don't know, looking at a magazine and loving an idea and then maybe adding something to something that you buy from somewhere, or
so customisation and alteration is a good way to kind of get more confident with sewing.
I think so, and hopefully, you know, get back into it because it's actually quite a lovely, relaxing thing to do once you can do it, and then, you know, you've made it yourself.
Yeah. Do you think that sewing and dressmaking could be sort of the antidote to fast fashion? I think people are a bit more aware these days of sustainability.
Yeah, I think so, and it's wonderful that actually people are going back to dressmaking and seeing what can be done and just using your hands, and because fast fashion is, you know, we all know what's happening in the big stores, and but making something, you know, by hand to your specifications, to exactly what you want and the fabric you want. I mean, it's a commitment, it takes time, but it's really so lovely to do. Yeah,
worth it. How important do you think that fit is?
Yeah, I just think that fit can make you feel much better. If something fits you beautifully on the waist, because we're all, like we were just saying, we're all different shapes and sizes, to have something that fits you beautifully on the waist, if that's where you like wearing things, or on the hips or everything, I think you can just, you know, rather than going out hoiking things up or, you know, you move better and you feel better in it because it will be tailored to you.
So now this is quite long, isn't it, at the current length of the pattern, but then we're going to make it into a mini.
Yes, but we always go like a little bit longer because we can always make it shorter.
So it's like a haircut, it's always better to tread carefully and keep extra fabric than it is to kind of storm straight in and then chop it too small.
Exactly, and this was our lengthen and shorten line.
Right.
So what we can do is actually figure out how long or short we want to do that now.
Right.
And then we might as well just chop that off now. And then we're going to draw that all the way down and then simply chop up the side of it and manoeuvre it, and that's going to create the flare.
Ooh, okay. There it is. You can see it coming together.
The only thing we do need to do is we need to get our facing.
Okay.
So our facing, because there's no waistband on this, we want the facing to go inside the skirt.
Right.
And then that will give us a nice clean line at the top.
And is that like a little panel of fabric that hangs down inside?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to draw it off with the excess pattern paper. So roughly maybe 3 inches.
If somebody is just starting to sew, what's the first thing you would advise them making?
With all sewing things, it's something that's quite simple, so like a cushion cup or a bag. It's just straight lines,
Yeah.
sewing the seams, but it all comes from just learning the sewing machine and just trial and error.
Yes.
And not worrying about going wrong. Like what we were saying, you know, if it's a little bit wonky or something, you just get better the more you do.
Are you seeing an increase in people wanting to learn to sew now? Do you think it's reaching a new generation?
Yeah, I think there is a lot more people interested in learning to sew. Like with all things, with like cooking and gardening, everything's just getting back to kind of basic.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of people learning how to sew, because I think there's such a lovely range of fabrics out there, and there's so many lovely patterns out there, because you don't need to make your own pattern. You just buy the pattern, do exactly what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Find your size, cut it out, get your fabric. And
Plenty of shortcuts out there to help you.
now, fabric generally comes with the right side and the wrong side. So right side is the design side, or the one you want on the outside. Okay, so once we've decided on the right and the wrong side, we want to put our right sides together, because then we can mark if we need to and do everything on the wrong side of the fabric. So your pattern might look a bit wonky, but that's absolutely fine, because that's as long as your grain line's parallel.
Great.
So you just put enough pins in that you feel confident to chop around the outside.
We'll do this bit first, just in case I make a mess of it. All right, that's everything cut.
That's everything cut.
Okay, so I'm just going to take all the pins out.
Yep, ready to unpin. Now, got our lovely pieces, got our pattern. Now we want to start stitching it together. First thing would be to sew our facing together.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we want to sew from the top to the bottom, little reverse stitch at the top and reverse at the bottom, and do both sides.
Okay.
So you'll have one extended facing.
Do that.
So we want to stop this from fraying. So you do like an overlocking stitch, like a zigzag stitch, and when you get to the seam, butterfly the seam open. Now we can sew the side seams of the skirt together. So right side to right side. We know that this is our outside edge, this is our straight back seam here, where our zip will go.
Yeah.
So side seam's done.
Okay.
What we want to do now is sew the facing and the skirt together.
So now we're ready to put the zip in.
So now we're ready to put it. So we've done it a little bit backwards, so you could put the zip in beforehand if you wanted to. So what we've done, but we've just put our facing in first and we can put in our zip. So you're going to sew from the top here to our notch, and then we're going to do this on a big stitch length, little reverse stitch, and then continue to the hem. You're then going to sew the zip in place using a zipper foot.
I see.
And you're going to sew down there, across, and then up. And then ideally you want to match the distance.
Okay, so we've sewn the zip.
Sewn the zip.
I've made it slightly wonky, but it'll do.
Perfect. And then we're just going to undo with our unpicker, just undo that big stitching right in between, and it should reveal the zip underneath.
The big reveal. Right.
Nice.
There's the zip. It's almost looking like a skirt, isn't it?
It is. So the next thing we've got to do is we've got to do something called layering on the inside, which is getting rid of the bulk. And then you're going to do a line of stitching all the way around, flipping up your seam allowance all the way around, and that will prevent your facing from creeping up over the top. Now, time for the hem. So what we could do is do a zigzag stitch to stop the fray, and then we can do a straight stitch, or known as a top stitch.
Yeah.
So you'll be visible on the right side. Nice.
Hey.
Well done, man.
I made a skirt.
You made a lovely skirt.
That was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be.
Good, well, you did brilliantly.
Right, I better try it on.
Okay.
Oh, I love it. I'm so pleased with it.
You've done such a lovely job, man. Looks great.
It fits perfectly as
Yeah,
well.
it does. It looks lovely on you. It looks great.
It's such a luxury to have an A-line skirt that actually fits on my waist and on my hips and on my bum.
Yep.
And isn't riding up, and I'm not having to like tug it around as I'm moving.
Yeah, no, it fits you beautifully. It looks great with that top too. No, it's lovely.
And so in the summer, obviously you could use this skirt shape in a lighter fabric, could you?
Yeah, absolutely, lighter fabric, and then you could extend the pattern to make it a midi or a
midi would be
maxi.
great, yeah.
You know, make it so it's a bit more, summery and lightweight. You could add some pockets to the side.
Everybody loves a pocket.
Everyone loves pockets.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh wow, possibilities are endless.
Yeah, exactly, Don. You've done a brilliant job. Well done.
Thank you so much.
It is, it's lovely.